Inside the Magic. It is Monday, December 24th, Christmas Eve, 2012, and this is show 403 of Inside the Magic. Merry Christmas, everybody. I'm your host, Ricky Briganti, and we've got another great show packed with a lot of great Disney fun this week. So before we get to all of that, I invite you to visit InsideTheMagic.net. There you'll find all of our podcasts, videos, photos, news, articles, and plenty more. And if you ever have any news, tips, questions, or comments, you can always write to me via email at ricky@InsideTheMagic.net, or you can call and leave a message at 407-494-4ITM. That's 4486. And now, let's get on with the show. This week's episode of Inside the Magic is brought to you by Magical Travel. Travel the world with Disney. Experience hassle-free first-class service with an Adventures by Disney vacation. And you can receive up to a $600 Visa gift card when you book an Adventures by Disney destination vacation with Magical Travel. So call them today at 866-207-8387 or visit them online at magicaltravel.com to receive a free price quote. And be sure to mention Inside the Magic to receive your free Disney gift card for qualifying bookings when you book your Disney vacation with Magical Travel. And thanks very much to listeners and viewers like you for your donations, be it one-time or recurring, or anybody clicking through the Amazon affiliate link that this holiday season or any time of the year, really. InsideTheMagic.net/Amazon is the place to do that, to give us a little credit for your regular Amazon.com purchases. So thanks very much for that, especially during this holiday season. And now, let's go on a brief trip around the world. So it is Christmas week. Happy holidays, Merry Christmas, and all that good stuff. Technically, I'm recording this Sunday night, as usual, but it has crossed over to midnight, so I figured I'd call it a Christmas Eve podcast, give it the Monday distinction. By the time I get it online, I'm sure it'll be, or rather, by the time most of you are listening, I'm sure it'll be at least Christmas Eve, if not well past Christmas. Of course, I've spent this weekend enjoying Christmas time festivities over at Walt Disney World. I'll be sharing a little bit of that later in this week's show, doing some shopping and wrapping. Busy, of course. Always busy this time of year. A little bit of a different show this week as a result of that. Naturally, there's not much news during this time of year. Not much going on in the parks other than it just being very busy and very Christmassy. So just a little bit of news. And then I'm going to be sharing some new interviews with Imagineers about Storybook Circus and New Fantasyland. Been promising those for a couple of weeks now. I'm going to share that this week. And I'll be following that with some Christmas entertainment, both from the Magic Kingdom as well as a little bit of fun from Universal Orlando as well. First, I want to say, don't forget, coming up very, very soon is the Big Ear in Review show. This is our year in review, but the ear in review, of course, because we're talking about everything that happened in the world of Disney throughout the year of 2012. This time around, of course, it'll be me, joined once again by Paul Berry from A Window to the Magic. I lost track at how many years we've been doing this, but it's been many, many years, many hours of recording. The show's usually about 4 or 5 hours long. So if you want to tune in live, there's going to be a live audio stream of us recording the show this coming Saturday, December 29th at 3 p.m. Eastern and 12 p.m. Pacific time. Just follow us on Facebook and Twitter at Inside the Magic, or also follow Paul at WTTM on Twitter to get the link to where to tune in for that if you want to listen live. If you don't want to listen to the live stream or you can't make it, of course, we'll be releasing the show as a regular podcast release on January 6th, both on the Inside the Magic feeds as well as over on Window to the Magic. And it's going to be an audio only because you don't want to watch me get very slouching in my seat after 4 hours practically falling asleep of talking so very much. No, it's we always keep the excitement level very high all the way to the very end because there is so very much to talk about. So looking forward to that very soon. And just in time for the new year, I thought I'd throw this out there. We've are approaching, or by the time you hear this, probably have crossed 51 million views on YouTube. So that is absolutely outstanding and astounding. So thanks to everybody out there who has watched even just one of our videos. Of course, if you watched more than one, then that's even better. YouTube.com/InsideTheMagic is the place for all of that. Also, we recently crossed 40,000 subscribers over there. If you're not subscribed to our YouTube channel, well, you should. So head over there, click the little subscribe button, and have all of the latest videos immediately sent to your inbox so that you know exactly when we've uploaded a new one. So anyway, let's move on to just a little bit of news this week before we jump into those interviews and some Christmas fun as well. First up, pretty minor, well, it's a major thing, but we've already talked about it on the show last week, I believe. Splitsville is now officially open over at Downtown Disney out here at Walt Disney World. That is the restaurant / bowling alley / bar, sushi bar, all that stuff. Went back on Monday night for some more fun time rather than sort of the media event that was the week prior, and had a good time. Was there for about 2 hours during the Disney Parks blog meetup. It was a lot of fun. Hung out with a lot of good friends. Bowled. I did terribly. I think I bowled an 82, which is awful. It started out really strong. Got a spare and then a strike, and everything was downhill from there. But it was fun. So Splitsville, sushi's definitely still the best thing to eat there. Everything else is but it's a good time there. Also officially open as of this past week is the new Senses Spa over at the Grand Floridian. So a couple of new things in addition to New Fantasyland and the new test track, which we've been talking about quite a bit. Also this weekend, I experienced something else new, for me at least. It's been around for several weeks now, but I haven't had a chance to do it until just yesterday. Michelle and I had lunch at Be Our Guest over in New Fantasyland. We've had dinner there a few times. Already talked about that, but finally got to experience the lunch service. It was great. Fantastic experience. The line was very long. Of course, this is the Saturday before Christmas, as to be expected. Very long line throughout the park, really. But we moved pretty quickly. We were lined up all the way outside the bridge and managed to get all the way inside in about 10 minutes or so. Went through the process, placed our orders through the kiosks. Very easy. Walked around for a little while. We were there with a first-timer to Walt Disney World, so we were showing everything off to them. And then we eventually settled into the West Wing, where we sat down to have a bite to eat, and within probably 2 minutes of sitting at our table and placing the magical rose that they give you when you first step in for the quick service version of Be Our Guest, the food that we had ordered at the kiosk, 10 or 15 minutes prior, was right there as soon as we sat down. So it was there ready and waiting for us to just find a seat after we had explored for a while. So pretty amazing. Almost like magic that it showed up. I ended up having the braised pork, which was fantastic. I really enjoyed it. Probably one of the best things I've eaten at Be Our Guest. So I definitely recommend that. And of course, I had another chocolate cupcake because those are just completely delicious. So there's that. A few thoughts from Be Our Guest. What else did I see at the Magic Kingdom? At the front of the park, I noticed the new RFID turnstile-free entry is most definitely in place. It's there as well as some of the other parks, if not all the other parks. And hotel guests around Walt Disney World are now being given RFID-equipped tickets to be able to get in and out of the parks and eventually take part in FastPass Plus. That is not available yet. However, it does seem pretty handy to be able to walk through, just tap your card against the little Mickey head and go on in. You don't have to deal with those turnstiles. So I look forward to everybody being able to experience that sometime in the near future. So here's some rumors that have been swirling around for the last few days. Take all this with a grain of salt, and nothing confirmed, nothing announced here. But there's a rumor going around that George Kalogridis, who's the president of Disneyland, doing very well out there. Rumor is that he's going to be taking over for Meg Crofton out here at Walt Disney World, that he'll become the president of Walt Disney World in the near future. So I would certainly be all for that. He's done wonders for the park out there. Great guy, very nice guy. He's actually from Florida, so I'm sure he wouldn't mind coming back here, at at least for a little while, or maybe being on both coasts. Who knows if he would be leaving Disneyland and coming to Walt Disney World. It is all just a rumor at this point, but I would certainly be all for that. Another rumor that seems to be pretty strong, seems likely this is going to happen. Apparently Morocco over at Epcot at the World Showcase is going to be getting a new waterside restaurant. Details have not been announced by Disney just yet, but that seems to be in the works. Also, looking ahead a little bit to next month, Disney Interactive has sent out invitations this week as they are announcing plans to unveil Disney Infinity, which is what they're calling a new gaming initiative from Disney, of course. Rumors suggest Disney Infinity will be something akin to Activision's Skylanders series with little figurines that you'll be able to interact with the game in some way, real physical figurines, but also some other leaked footage, videos, and imagery for Disney Infinity suggest otherwise. So we're not really sure exactly at this point what Disney Infinity is, but middle of January is when the press event is going to take place, unveiling it and actually giving a chance to play it a little bit. In addition, D23 members are going to have a chance to attend that event, playing the game, have some lunch, get a gift. It's going to be free. It's all taking place at the El Capitan. Of course, space is limited, and there's going to be a $5 processing fee. Nothing is ever completely free when it comes to D23, it seems like. But tickets are going to be available for D23 members as of January 3rd at 10 a.m. Pacific time via the D23 website. In attendance for the big announcement of Disney Infinity, or rather the unveiling, will be John Lasseter, and as well as the head of Disney Interactive. So it should be one heck of an event. I'm even considering flying out to California. I'm not sure if I'm going to do that quite yet, but it seems like it's going to be pretty exciting. This could be Disney's next big video game, or at least they hope it will be. Just a little bit more here before we round out this short version of the news this week. I posted, leading up to Christmas time, posted several reviews of recent products that have come out from Disney. I finally wrote up my reviews of Epic Mickey 2, as well as Epic Mickey Power of Illusion for 3DS. Those are over at InsideTheMagic.net. Had a chance to play enough of those games to warrant finally actually writing a review of it. Also posted reviews of 3 Blu-rays that just came out recently. Dick Tracy, Up in Blu-ray 3D, as well as Finding Nemo in Blu-ray 3D. In short, just going through those real quick, the 3DS Epic Mickey game, Power of Illusion, fantastic. I definitely highly recommend it if it's still before Christmas and you got a Disney fan who has a 3DS and you want to get a good gift. That is a great game to buy, Power of Illusion. Epic Mickey 2, however, despite the fact that it's cross-platform and it does improve on a lot of problems, it's still kind of the same old Epic Mickey from the first time around. It plays the same, it's the same areas, it almost feels like the exact same game with some upgrades. So can't say I'm a huge fan of Epic Mickey 2 so far, or really, at all. I don't know. It's fun, but it's not. It doesn't live up to the potential that it probably should have. Dick Tracy on Blu-ray, not a great release. No bonus features whatsoever. Can't say I'm thrilled with that. The movie looks alright. It's a little grainy. I like the movie. Dick Tracy's a fun movie. Up in 3D, as I said, when it came out in theaters in 3D, not really necessary. Looks about the same on Blu-ray 3D, not necessary. However, Finding Nemo Blu-ray 3D, a must-own. Anyone with a 3D TV, go rush out, get Finding Nemo in 3D. It looks phenomenal, and there's great bonus features on it as well. So last bit of news here, music of Carthay Circle, an album I talked about a couple of weeks ago, played quite a bit of it while going over the news here on the show. It was available at Disneyland, still is available at Disneyland. Now it is available online. You can get it from Amazon MP3, as well as I believe on iTunes and maybe some other services as well. So if you're not going to be at Disneyland, you just want to do the MP3 downloads, that is the way to go. So yeah, that'll actually do it for your news from around the world this week. And once again this week, I'm going to offer my own tip up. As I said, I was just over at the Magic Kingdom yesterday for some Christmas time fun, and there is a really good reason for that. This time of year, starting yesterday and lasting until the end of the year, much of the entertainment that is offered during Mickey's Very Merry Christmas Party is offered just normally during daytime hours at the Magic Kingdom. So if you're a local, you definitely want to head over there, or if you're just a visitor, you don't want to pay, or you missed the Very Merry parties, which ended this past Friday, or maybe you were already here and you didn't want to pay for the extra bit, that you can still see the parade. They run it during the daytime. You can see the special fireworks. You can even see the Dapper Dans singing on Main Street, which is something that was removed from Mickey's Very Merry Christmas Party this year, which is quite interesting that they've included that in the daytime version of the entertainment this week, but they removed it from the extra paid ticket party, which was quite disappointing. So really, in my opinion, just going and seeing the daytime version of all of that is even better than the nighttime one. So that's going daily through the end of the year. Of course, it's very, very busy around the parks this time of year. I wouldn't count on getting on too many rides without heavily using FastPass, but you can certainly enjoy the parade and the fireworks and all that. I'm actually going to be posting a video of the daytime version of the parade sometime very soon this week, probably tomorrow or next day or the next day. I don't know. Christmas is coming up, so whenever I get around to it, but you can look for that on our YouTube channel as well. Anyway, everybody out there, you can email your own tips into tips@insidethemagic.net.
And now, an Inside the Magic contest.
So we don't have a new contest this week. However, we do have last week's contest to wrap up. I got to announce some winners here. It was giving away 2 video games and a Blu-ray/DVD release. The video games, of course, were Brave for Xbox 360, Toy Story Mania for Xbox 360, and a copy of the Prep and Landing and Naughty vs. Nice sequel to that, and a whole bunch of great extras, all on Blu-ray. So those are the 3 prizes we're giving away here. I had given out 3 questions to answer in order to enter to win those. First question was, what was the original title of Brave? The answer to that was The Bear and the Bow. Number 2, what is Andy's last name in the Toy Story series? Well, Andy's last name is Davis. That's something maybe a lot of you may not know. Now you know. Number 3, in the original Prep and Landing, the latitude and longitude given for Timmy's house is actually for what famous real-life location? Well, that location is the Walt Disney Company headquarters in Burbank. So interesting little tidbit there. So let's announce some winners. Winner of the Brave game for Xbox 360 is Jason Skidmore. Congratulations, Jason. Toy Story Mania game goes to Allison. And you got to challenge me with this last name, don't you? Allison Rogozinski. Sounds about right. Congrats, Allison. And finally, the Prep and Landing Blu-ray goes to Jeff Williams. Much easier name there. So, Jason, Allison, Jeff, congratulations. Please email your mailing address to contest@insidethemagic.net. And once I get that, I will work on getting your prizes out to you. So that is it for the contests for now. More to come in the near future. I have said near future like 6 times already in this week's episode. That's apparently the phrase of the week, but it is true. Lots to come in the near future, so including more contests. Nothing to announce right now in terms of that. So thanks to everybody who has played these contests over the past few weeks. There will definitely be more to come. So now, as I said, this week's show a little bit different than usual. It is Christmas time. I have a whole lot to do, despite the fact that I'm recording this at nearly 2 in the morning, Christmas Eve. Technically, early Christmas Eve. I still have much to do. I just finished wrapping presents like half an hour ago. So in that spirit, I'm going to share some things that I have recorded over the past few weeks or even just yesterday, starting with some interviews from the big media event that happened just a couple of weeks ago over in New Fantasyland. I'm going to play 3 back-to-back interviews here with some folks who worked on the development of both New Fantasyland and Storybook Circus. And that's actually where we're going to start, over in Storybook Circus, standing in the new Dumbo Big Top. Going to be talking to an Imagineer about all of that, as well as following that, 2 more folks from Disney talking about New Fantasyland, including specifically the Little Mermaid ride. So enjoy these interviews, and then I'll be back in a few minutes with even more fun entertainment. Standing inside the new Dumbo Big Top queue in Storybook Circus at the Magic Kingdom with Shannon Maschek, the project manager for Storybook Circus. Thanks for chatting with me here for a few minutes.
You're very welcome. Thank you for having me.
So tell me about the transition between Toontown Fair and Storybook Circus. Take me back to sort of the beginning of that. How did the idea come about to transform it into a circus rather than the fair?
Well, we really wanted to bring kind of that iconic American big top circus to the Magic Kingdom as part of the expansion, while bringing some of those classic storybook characters that we all know and love along with it.
So obviously Dumbo, a big part of Storybook Circus. The old Dumbo, very, very popular attraction. It seems like one of the reasons for bringing it over here was to expand the capacity, the enjoyability of that attraction. Since it has opened within the last few months, have you seen the guests have been happier with the Dumbo experience?
Well, I think we've been really excited to be able to still offer that iconic rite of passage experience that so many of our guests love, but we've done it in a brand new way. We've doubled the size of Dumbo. We've added a more immersive experience, and we've really improved the quality of the wait time for our guests.
So here in this big top queue, this is part of that improvement. Tell me about what we're looking at behind us. What are the interactive elements? What is there for both kids and adults to do while you're in here?
So we're inside the big top at Dumbo the Flying Elephant, and this is what we're referring to as our new interactive queue space. So rather than waiting in a normal standby line, our guests are able to come into this space. They're handed a pager that looks like a circus ticket. Our parents are able to sit on these bleachers and enjoy the air conditioning and have a nice relaxing time, and kids of all ages can experience these play elements while they're waiting in line. So we have a toddler ring, which is right here for our younger guests, and we also have these fun circus-themed play structures for our older children. So really just an overall great immersive experience while they're waiting in line.
Sounds like it's essentially a play area for kids, and then for adults, is it really just a chance to sit down, relax for a little while instead of waiting out in the hot sun?
It is. It's a chance to really escape from the heat and enjoy some quality time with your children.
Now, of course, in addition to this big top, there are now two Dumbo carousels outside, going in opposite directions. Very beautiful, a lot of ornate details around them. Tell me a little bit about the design process behind moving from the old classic Dumbo to the new one.
Well, the new Dumbos are very circus-inspired. They're inspired by those classic 1950s and 60s tin toys. So if you look at them up close, there's very delicate patina and aging to them, very delicate. And you'll also notice that we have some signature pieces of artwork around the bottom of each of the Dumbo rides, which tell the story of Dumbo the Flying Elephant.
One of my favorite parts about the new Dumbo is coming over here at Storybook Circus at night, where it's beautiful throughout the land, but particularly the water elements that are at the bottom and the LED multicolored lights. Seems like it adds a real nice vibrance to the area.
It does. It adds a layer of color. We also added the fountains, which has never been done before, and really just kind of creates that magical feel of the circus.
Okay, so moving past Dumbo, we've got a number of other attractions throughout Storybook Circus. A Pete's Silly Sideshow, something entirely new for the area. Obviously, there's been Dumbo before, Barnstormer's been around. Tell me about sort of the inspiration behind bringing a sideshow meet and greet act.
Well, Pete's Silly Sideshow is really a chance for our circus hopefuls to put on their act. So you can go to Pete's Silly Sideshow and you can meet some of our classic characters in a whole new circus-inspired theme. So you can meet Minnie Magnifique with her Parisian poodles. You can meet Goofy, who's a stunt pilot. You can also see him at the Barnstormer. And you can really enjoy some of our classic characters just in a completely new way.
You mentioned classic characters everybody loves, Donald, Goofy, etc. But many see Pete, or maybe Oswald the Lucky Rabbit, or Clarabelle Cow. Was ever a thought to bring sort of that type of character to Storybook Circus?
I think using Pete as the carnival barker really was great in bringing that character, that kind of rough around the edges character to the circus. So that was important for us.
But it was always the goal from the beginning to really feature those most well-known characters as opposed to the ones that sort of really just the hardcore fans would want to see.
We definitely wanted to find a place for those iconic characters.
Okay. So the Barnstormer, still there, but has a whole new look. When compared to where we're standing now, Dumbo, which is very polished, seems very sort of permanent. The Barnstormer seems to be themed that Goofy just sort of rolled into town. Tell me about sort of that dichotomy between the polished look and the dusty old, sort of circus look.
Well, the Barnstormer is featuring Goofy as the Great Goofini in all of his stunt pilot wonder. So Goofini, as most know, is not the most polished kind of guy. You can see that he's attempted to do many flights when you travel around the Barnstormer, and so you can tell that his character has kind of smashed through a few things in trying to perfect his stunts.
Right.
So that's really the theme, is that of Goofy.
Were there any? There's a lot of gags throughout the queue. I love the wheel of peril and things like that. Were there any sort of that ended up on the cutting room floor that were just like, oh, Goofy's so crazy, and then you just didn't have room for them?
We always have a lot of different ideas. You have to pick the ones that we think are going to have the best experience. And what I love is that you can see the posters out front of the attraction, the Wheel of Peril,
right.
for example, and then you can also see the actual Wheel of Peril while you're in line. So we've tied those together with the circus posters.
Sure. And then rounding out Storybook Circus is the old Fantasyland train station's been given a whole new look, and I love the nod to the old, Walt Disney Carolwood Railroad. Can you tell me sort of the history behind that?
Sure, we wanted to pay homage to Walt's love for trains and to the train that he had in his backyard with Fantasyland Station, as well as adding restrooms to the area, because it now serves as the land restrooms, which weren't here before. So it was really important to make that station really the anchor of the land, because of course you can't have a circus without a train station.
Right. And so the train is the classic Magic Kingdom train experience, but just nearby there is a new train for Storybook Circus, the Casey Jr., well, it doesn't move, but it's the Splash and Soak Station, I guess it's called. Why the decision to make a water play area versus, like Disneyland has, an actual working, moving Casey Jr. train?
It was really important for us to provide that sort of water play, fun, interactive experience for our guests. It is the only water play that exists in the Magic Kingdom. So it was really important for us to have that offering and a chance for kids to cool down.
And the water play areas certainly are very popular throughout all the parks. I hadn't realized that it was the only one here in the parks. That's definitely an interesting note there. Overall, do you want guests to take away from Storybook Circus versus what they used to from Toontown?
Well, I just think it's completely different. Storybook Circus is just a whole new, vibrant way to experience some of our classic rides, our classic characters, with a whole new overlay, and just really immerse our guests. From the moment that you go through the marquee, you feel like you're in the circus.
Great. And it's all here at the Magic Kingdom, now officially open here at Walt Disney World in Florida. Thanks very much for chatting.
Thank you.
I'm at the grand opening of New Fantasyland here at the Magic Kingdom at Walt Disney World with Chris Kelly, Imagineer and show producer for, well, all of this. It's very impressive. You must be pretty proud to see it all actually come together.
I cannot tell you how thrilled I am to see the guests enjoying these attractions, and I've been working on it for a little over 5 years, and to have this day come and to have people excited and enjoying themselves, it's a dream come true.
Yeah, I've been following it since the big announcement. It was back at the D23 Expo a number of years ago. It's had some changes over the years, and here we are, standing in front of the Little Mermaid ride, which is fantastic. What is kind of your most proud moment working on this project over the last few years?
Oh my. I have had many of them. I would say one of them, I'm really excited about Enchanted Tales with Belle, because it's a whole new kind of storytelling experience for our guests. And one of my proudest things on that is that every time people go, it's different, because the guests make the experience. And when you have different guests every time, you're going to have a different experience every time. And it's just really touching and heartwarming every time I go in there.
Well, let's talk about that a little bit, because it's sort of one of those attractions in the area. Everybody's focusing on Little Mermaid ride. Everybody's focusing on Be Our Guest. And then there's, this little bell thing off to the side. But there are some very impressive audio animatronics figures in there. The Lumiere and the wardrobe. Can you tell me a little bit about the creation of those?
Well, we really wanted to go after the characters from that film and really celebrate them, and really have our guests be able to, in essence, meet them, be with them, be in that story moment with them. So we're very, very excited about Lumiere and Madame Wardrobe, as we like to call her, as well as Belle, who is our character who comes in and we get to play with her. So I think what's so special is that once you're in there, these are the characters. You are basically in the movie and having a fabulous time with characters that you know and love.
So you can't really call that experience a meet and greet. It's more than that. There's this storytelling aspect to it. What do you refer to Enchanted Tales with Belle as?
Well, I've used several words to describe what goes on there. I mean, I like to think of it as almost like a storybook adventure because you do not know exactly what's going to happen to you. When you embark on down that little pathway, you go into Maurice's cottage. I don't think you really know what awaits you there.
And then you're wowed by that magic mirror.
You are transported to the castle by an enchanted mirror, and it is phenomenal. If you have not experienced it, you have to come down and see it.
So the fans want to know, where's Cogsworth?
Well, I'd love to say that I know that Lumiere is fantastic and Madame Wardrobe is there. And I haven't seen Cogsworth there.
So he's hiding back in the castle somewhere. So speaking of the castle, Be Our Guest restaurant, I think it's on the level of any great Disney attraction, ride, show, whatever, but it's a restaurant, which is really impressive. What was the thought process there to bring such elaborate theming to something that is, quote unquote, just a restaurant?
Well, we'd like to give our guests the best experience that they can have no matter what they're doing when they're in our parks. So, and when you think about it, you're in a restaurant for a good amount of time. And how better to spend that time, other than having fine French-inspired cuisine, than looking around at beautiful sculpture and just beautiful interiors and drapery and lights and chandeliers and paintings and tapestries. And then there's the Forbidden West Wing, so you also have a rose and you have a portrait. I mean, that's a pretty good way to spend a good chunk of your day.
Definitely, and that's my favorite room of the bunch, being a, Haunted Mansion kind of fan. That's a fun room to dine in. Of course, very different from that, very nearby, Gaston's Tavern. Different atmosphere, but still well within that world of Beauty and the Beast. What was the sort of thought process behind developing a place for guests to just sort of get some quick bites, but also still be immersed in that world?
Well, Gaston is such a huge character in that film, and he's one of those guys that you love to hate, and he's bigger than life, and he's got that huge ego, and we really wanted to bring that to our tavern here. So, and it really was fun because once we were really developed the theming, I mean, if you look around those walls, you could imagine that there might have been some brawls going on there maybe. There's a couple of little dart games that might have gone a little askew. But when we raise that level of theming and our food, like the food in there kind of comes up to that level too. You've got a really fun, the pork shank is really awesome and very manly.
And delicious.
Thank you, I agree. And also the, and the LeFou's Brew is a really fun beverage that we've got going on there, which is awesome.
I've seen so many guests walk through there and say, oh, it's Gaston's chair. I have to have a picture. It seems like that's going to be one of the most photographed moments in all of Fantasyland.
I hope so. That sitting in that chair, standing in front of that portrait, I myself have those photos and I treasure them.
So fans have picked up on in the store just outside Gaston's Tavern in the back. Seems to be a portrait of a familiar face here at the Magic Kingdom. Can you talk to me about him at all?
I don't know what you're referring to.
He looks a whole...
I know that is a merchant that we have, that we're celebrating, a local merchant who made it good there.
Who just happens to look like Phil Holmes, if you want to say a name.
I know he's a character in our shop.
Okay. So moving down the path here in New Fantasyland, we are standing in front of the Little Mermaid ride. Obviously, it exists at Disney California Adventure as well, but what's really impressive about this version is this queue. It's unbelievable. It's an attraction unto itself. Can you tell me a little bit about the story behind this queue?
Well, one of the things that we find so exciting about New Fantasyland is the fact that we're able to introduce all of these water elements and all these landscaped elements. And so with bringing this Little Mermaid attraction, we were able to really get into the storytelling from the beginning when you leave the path and you go into the queue. So you've got you've got the tide pools and you've got the sea cliffs and you've got all these little treasures that are there for you to discover all along the way, which I love. I'm particularly proud of.
It's really gorgeous. I mean, it is an attraction unto itself to the point where there's interactive elements and there's even Scuttle making an appearance. What is the sort of the story behind walking through this as you're going under the sea?
Well, it's lovely because you have the cliffs, then you start to go in the tide pools, and you notice that then you start to go under the architecture of the castle because it goes from being kind of wild and rocky to a little more stately, a little more architectural. And you find yourself kind of in a cavern in that wonderful room where it has the paintings on the ceiling, and then you see a little staircase which you can kind of hear that it leads up to the kitchen where maybe things were delivered and dropped off, and then you embark upon your journey.
Excellent. And then next door, of course, guests have a chance to meet Ariel herself. Any chance of Prince Eric making any appearances?
I do not know. I'd have to ask my entertainment partners about that.
Okay. Well, the Ariel Grotto, definitely an improvement over what was there before. It's a nice, relaxed way to meet a Disney princess.
I think it's beautiful. I just love sitting there, that atmosphere and the lighting. It's very dreamy and very beautiful.
So overall, for New Fantasyland, I think the general feeling of being here is what's most important, what's most interesting about it. You know, there's a ride, there's a restaurant, but walking amongst all the rock work and the waterfalls and the forest, was that really the goal when expanding the Magic Kingdom, was to create sort of this new area that adds an additional level of immersion for guests?
Well, I think you said that very well, and we love the details. It's the storytelling and the details that we really like to give our guests, because they expect it and they deserve it. And so having the opportunity to have the water elements, to have the wonderful architecture here, the rocks, the bricks, it's just been so fun to develop that and then to see it here for everyone to enjoy.
And there's still a little bit left. You got a big construction site here.
There's a little bit left. To my left here, there's a little old mountain, and we're going to see some dwarves kind of go into a mine where 1,000,000 diamonds shine. How much? I don't know. It's fabulous.
We can look forward to that in 2014.
2014.
Great. Thanks very much. New Fantasyland now open at the Magic Kingdom. I'm standing in New Fantasyland for its grand opening here at Walt Disney World with Chad Stocknick, the project manager of Under the Sea Journey of the Little Mermaid. Thanks for taking the time to chat with me for a few minutes.
Thanks for coming.
Sure. So this ride, very similar to the one that opened at Disney California Adventure recently, which I had a chance to ride many, many times and absolutely loved it. Thrilled to have it here in Florida now. Tell me about the transition, sort of bringing that attraction from there now to here.
It's the same story we're trying to tell, the story of the Little Mermaid. The difference is we're taking the guests right as they get off the promenade into the story. As you can see with Prince Eric's castle behind us, guests get to experience that shoreline and start the story as they go through Prince Eric's shoreline down into the grottos and caverns of his castle.
Well, that's definitely the huge difference. I mean, looking behind us here, the facade, the entrance, the queue, very impressive. Equally as impressive as the ride itself. I think many would just like to wander around and explore the caves. Sort of walk me through the process of designing and building this versus the very simple boardwalk facade that's in California Adventure.
Well, it takes a lot of talented people on our team to pull this off. We've got, you can see the rock work, the amount of rock work that brought the seaside castle to life. It goes the same process as the boardwalk, really. We started blue sky and begin with a story. And that evolves through our concept phases and our design development phases to get you this. It's a similar process.
I think when the first images showed up online of this ship with Ariel sort of mounted on the front, everyone was like, oh, why is Ariel sort of almost lifeless at the front? What is the story behind this shipwreck in front of Prince Eric's castle?
Well, this is the shipwreck from the story from when Prince Eric was tossed into the sea and Ariel saved him. So it was important that we brought that part of the story into our attraction.
So Ariel being on the front is sort of a tribute to that moment?
That's correct, yes.
Okay, great. And as you're walking through the queue, you pass by the beautiful Prince Eric's castle and enter sort of the caverns underneath. Tell me about these great little interactive blue crabs that guests can sort of play with as they're waiting in line.
Again, it's part of the evolving story as you get from the shoreline into the caverns, and we thought it'd be fun to bring the guests something to do while they're in line, to help the crabs pick out trash or treasure, and then Scuttle meets them in the final room before they board the ride and gets to finalize that story.
What were the biggest challenges of creating the waterfalls, the waterways, the really elaborate rock work?
Well, all of the elements we bring are challenging. I don't know if there's any one more than the other, but it's bringing the different types of the water, the rock. Sometimes you don't want water where you're trying to create rock. So all that is a challenge.
And you mentioned Scuttle actually makes an appearance in the queue. He's definitely in the ride, of course, sort of narrating the story. But what is the significance of his appearance in the queue in audio animatronics form?
It's just part of the story, just him telling a story and entertaining our guests while they're getting ready to be on the ride.
To wrap this up, now the Little Mermaid ride open here at New Fantasyland, but looking ahead, 2014, I understand you're also working on the Seven Dwarfs Mine Train coaster. Can you give us just sort of a sneak preview of what that's all about?
Well, it's as I said, the Seven Dwarfs Mine Train. They take you on a ride through the mines and sell some of the classic story and songs that you know from the movie.
Excellent. New Fantasyland now open at the Magic Kingdom. Come ride the Little Mermaid and check it all out. And there you have a little bit of insight into the creation of Storybook Circus and New Fantasyland. Always fascinating to hear a few extra details from the folks behind the creation of it all. Of course, it is, as I said many times throughout those interviews, all open over at the Magic Kingdom. Been there many, many times, and it is a whole lot of fun. Straight from the Magic Kingdom. The Magic Kingdom, of course, as I was saying just a little bit ago, is having plenty of Christmas entertainment for the rest of the year. And when I was there yesterday, I stumbled across the Dapper Dans singing on Main Street USA, one of my favorite bits of Christmas time entertainment. So that's what I want to share with you now, a pair of songs from the wonderful Dapper Dans on Main Street USA.
You know that friends are in fiction. Confident eggs and minds always mix. Over and I'm pretty sure there's no reindeer named Ancient or Foxball. When next? Hey guys, I have part of Don't worry, folks. We're gonna clean up. Covered and humid and other and Blitzen, but you are the most famous reindeer of all. Who do you think it is, Shinner? Rudolph! Rudolph, red-nosed reindeer, a song we wrote ourselves by Irving Berlin. It's a tender tale of teenage romance entitled, She Was Only a Farmer's Daughter, but I Still Couldn't Attract Her. Never mind. She was a moonshiner's daughter, but I loved her still. How about this one instead? I kissed her in the fall and missed. I think my favorite is that one by your girlfriend. I think this is a good crowd. It's called She Had a Head Like a Cantaloupe and a Face Like a Dog. So I called her my melancholy baby. We've been waiting patiently for this ways that came with a bag. Oh, Mr. Rainbow, soon gonna jingle the bells rattle tingle all your troubles away. Everybody's waiting for the man with the bag, 'cause Christmas is coming again. He's got a staple, it's not gonna staple. He's got stuff to profit every stop away. Everybody's waiting for the man with the bag, 'cause Christmas is coming again. He'll be here with the answer to the prayers that you made through the year. You'll get yours if you've done everything you should. Extra special good, he'll make this December the one you'll remember, the best and the merriest you ever had. Everybody's waiting for the man with the bag, and Christmas is here again. He'll be here with the answer to the prayers you made through the year. Yes, you'll get yours. Yes, yours if you've done everything you should. Extra special good, he'll make this December the one you'll remember, the best and the merriest you ever did have. Everybody's waiting for the man with the bag, waiting for the man with the bag. Here he comes, you better watch out, you better watch out. And now here's our Christmas card to you. It's that time of year when the world falls in love. Every song you hear seems to say, Merry Christmas. Your New Year's dreams come true. And this song I can record our time wishes you yours. The same thing from all of us in the Dapper Dans to all of you. Merry Christmas.
Dapper Dans are always, always, always entertaining, particularly at Christmas time. Great little fun renditions and some jokes thrown in there as well. Now I want to switch gears to something completely different than that, though still quite entertaining. And some of you may have already caught this on our YouTube channel or on the website, but I haven't shared it here on the podcast yet. And for those of you who don't frequent those other incarnations of Inside the Magic, if you will, you might get a kick out of this. A few weeks ago, I had a chance to head on over to Universal Orlando and have a chance to have a very special chat with a fellow who you might know his name. He's a little bit famous. He's called the Grinch. Yeah, he's quite the character. I did chat with him for a few minutes. I actually shared questions, asked him questions that I had asked on our Facebook page, and he responded in his very, very Grinchy way. So let's hop on over to Islands of Adventure, of course, the home of Grinchmas at Universal Orlando. Spend a few minutes talking to the Grinch. Hello, Mr. Grinch. How are you today?
Terrible. Are you kidding me?
Sounds about right. So I have a list of questions.
A list?
A list. It's like 500,000. No, it's like just a handful of questions.
500,000? Okay, and go.
Get back here, you old Grinch. All right. You are very close to the camera. All right.
What if
there
I
we go.
did that?
Then you are extremely close to the
what
camera.
What if I did that? Oh, where'd he go? Where'd he go? I'm camouflage.
All right. So these questions come from our Facebook fans.
Okay, all right. Yeah.
Are you on Facebook, by the way?
Nope.
No. All right. So one of our fans wants to know, if you're not a who, what exactly are you?
I am a what?
You're a what? What is a what?
Yeah. A what is awesome. That's what a what is. Which perfectly describes this guy.
All right. So your dog Max, quite cute. How do you wind up with you?
Max? Oh, I do not want to tell that story. Nope, you're not going to hear it from me. Nope. I don't exactly enjoy talking about Max, per se, but he does sleep in the garbage. I don't know if you knew that or not. So he smells good, for me personally, because I like garbage smell.
Do you also sleep in the garbage?
On occasion, you know, you can't overload it. You know, sometimes I sleep on glass, sometimes on nails, and other times garbage. But it's like it just, you get overloaded and there's too much good smell, and then it doesn't smell good anymore.
All right, so you're wearing some red and white today, but other than that, you're fairly green. If you weren't green, what color do you think you would be?
Is there another color to be? Are you kidding me? Green all the way, baby. Maybe I'd be a combination of yellow and blue, because that make green.
Have you ever considered stealing another holiday like Halloween or Thanksgiving?
This may come as a shock to you, but I actually have stolen Halloween before. I transformed it into Grinch night. I did. Not a lot of people know about that, but it happened.
What about something like Hanukkah? It's kind of related to Christmas.
Well, I could, and then I could steal several presents on several days, and that's possible. I'd consider it. Or maybe Flag Day. Yeah! And I can steal all the flags everywhere.
And then I suspect you must have other things to do around Christmas time other than stealing it. What else do you do to celebrate the holiday?
What else? I like having the occasional green Sunday. I like building spitwads. Those are awesome. You can get a spitwad that'll hit a who from 200 yards. Boom! It's awesome. Your little target practice. Yep.
That sounds painful.
Oh, it is.
Speaking of painful, has anyone ever actually touched you with a 39.5-foot pole?
Oh, they tried once. Boom!
And one of our Facebook fans definitely wants to know, who does your eyebrows?
Who does my eyebrows? Me. Hello. This is natural beauty. That's what happened. All I gotta do is go, skilla-blip, and it's good to go.
And there it is. All right. Round this up with a little bit of word association. Tell me the first thing that pops into your mind when I say the following. All right, ready? Christmas.
Hate.
Presents.
Hate.
Cindy Lou Who.
Double hate.
Seasick crocodile.
Like.
Stink.
Stank.
Stunk?
Yes!
All right, Mr. Grinch. I guess we can see you out here at Universal Orlando every once in a while.
Oh, yes, you can. Is there any really other reason to go besides seeing me? I'm amazed.